Deep in the mountains of Colombia, there's a city made of stone terraces, literally shrouded in mist and jungle. For centuries, it was basically a legend. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Ciudad Perdida, the lost city. Let's get right into it. I know, it sounds completely made up, right? But the modern story of this ancient metropolis, it doesn't start with archaeologists in pith helmets. It starts with a group of hunters and, well, their very unlucky prey. So how on earth did a turkey lead to one of the biggest archaeological finds in the Americas? Just imagine for a second you're hiking through this thick, unforgiving jungle and you stumble across this, a staircase, ancient and covered in moss, just climbing up a mountain into who knows where. This is exactly what a family of treasure hunters found, and for them, it was the first clue to a massive fortune. So let's start with how this city was rediscovered in the 1970s. And believe me, the story feels like it's straight out of an adventure movie. Okay, so the story goes like this. Back in 1972, the Sepulveda family is out hunting. They shoot a wild turkey, and when they go to find it, they see it's landed on a set of stone steps almost completely swallowed by the jungle. So they follow them up and find an entire abandoned city. They nicknamed it Green Hell, and get this, for 4 years, it was their own personal secret treasure chest. It wasn't until 1976, when all these unique gold artifacts started popping up on the black market, that archaeologists finally figured out something huge had been found. So we know how it was found, but what exactly did they find? Because Green Hell wasn't just some old ruin. It was the heart of a major civilization, and its scale is honestly hard to wrap your head around. First things first. We call it Ciudad Perdida, or the Lost City, but its real name is Teyuna. That's what the local indigenous people, the Kogi, call it. And for their ancestors, the Tairona people, this place was the center of their world, a bustling hub for politics, trade, everything. And what's just incredible is how old it is. Teyuna was founded around 800 AD. Now, to give you some perspective, pretty much everyone has heard of Machu Picchu, right? Well, Teyuna is about 650 years older. It was being built around the same time as the great mine cities, long before the Incan Empire was even a thing. That's just wild. The city itself is an absolute engineering marvel. We're talking 169 distinct terraces carved right into the side of the mountains. And just to get from the river valley up to the city's entrance, you have to climb 1,200 stone steps through the jungle. Can you even imagine? And this is what's waiting for you at the top. Just look at that. These beautiful stone platforms used to be the foundations for wooden homes, temples, and plazas. This place was home to maybe 8,000 people, a real, thriving city in the clouds. Okay, so this brings up a pretty big question, right? If this city was so magnificent, why did it become lost in the first place? And the answer is complicated. It involves two totally different periods of conflict, separated by centuries. The first time it was abandoned was around the 16th century. After fighting the Spanish conquistadors for years, the Tairona people had to flee their mountain cities, and the jungle just slowly swallowed Teyuna whole. But then it was lost a second time, in our own era, when this whole region basically became a war zone. Yeah, for decades, this part of the Sierra Nevada was at the very center of the Colombian armed conflict. You had left-wing guerrilla groups like the FARC and ELN, and right-wing paramilitary groups like the AUC, all fighting for control of this territory, which was a major corridor for the drug trade. It made the entire area incredibly dangerous and completely off-limits. And that danger really hit the world stage in 2003. A group of 8 foreign tourists who were hiking to the city were kidnapped by the ELN. They were held for 3 months, and that incident shut down all access to the site for years. But the story doesn't end there, not by a long shot. In recent years, the whole narrative has shifted. It's gone from a story of conflict and loss to one of reverence and a carefully planned future. And it all starts with a huge revelation. So here's where the whole story takes a fascinating twist. While Teyuna was lost to the outside world, it was never truly lost. In fact, it kind of makes you question what lost even means. The Kogi people, who are the direct descendants of the Tairona, they knew about it the whole time. They kept visiting it as a secret site. They just kept it quiet. And this really gets to the heart of what this place is. On one hand, yeah, it's an incredible archaeological wonder, a window into a lost civilization. But on the other hand, it's a living, sacred ancestral home for the indigenous communities who are its true guardians. And that understanding created a totally new path forward. In 2005, the Colombian army finally secured the region, which let tourism start up again. Conservation groups came in to help preserve the site. But most importantly, the indigenous communities themselves, the Kogi, the Malayo, and the Arhuaco, are now at the center of all the decision-making, making sure that tourism is sustainable and actually respects their heritage. And that leaves us with one final, kind of mind-bending thought. Archaeologists estimate that only about 30 to 40% of the Tairona sites in these mountains have ever been properly explored. Teyuna is the biggest one they've found so far, but it was part of a huge network of settlements. So you have to wonder, what other lost cities are still out there, just waiting in the clouds?